Welcome back to another video in the power of the BI. That's right, welcome back to another video in the power of the BI. So here's the deal. Today we are going to be looking at stock data. We're going to be looking at stock data. So what we're going to be analyzing, we're going to be analyzing stocks using Power BI. Analyzing stocks using Power BI. So here's the deal. The one thing I like to do definitely before we start talking business and start talking stocks and stuff like that is I definitely want to make sure you guys understand, or make sure you understand. I don't really care about the rest of the world, but I want to make sure that you understand that, hey, I am not teaching you how to pick a stock. I am not teaching you which stocks to buy. I am simply showing you how to analyze data. And that data is in the form of stocks using Power BI. So with that said, let's be very clear on that. Now, with that said, just please understand that if you can analyze stock data, you can analyze any type of data, and that's simply what I want you to understand here. But we're gonna be talking stocks. So I'm not gonna beat that dead horse. I know you are very well versed in understanding what all that means. So what I am going to do is I am going to go over here, and we are going to look at look at a list of stocks that we have here. Now, of course, this is not going to be all stocks that are available on the NASDAQ or the S&P. This is a very small sample of the database, the data set that we're going to be using. But at the end of the day, you're going to be able to analyze data utilizing the stock data. If you are interested in receiving this data set and you are a part of my class, Power of the BI, just shoot me a message inside of the class. Inside the class channel, and I will see that you get this data set. This is, we may look at this data set in a future class, but right now we're not going. It's not a homework assignment. But with that said, let's move on over. Let's talk about what we have. So I brought in a data set to analyze for this particular class, and I'm going to start at the very beginning of how it's done and where that data is located here in our Power Query, so that you can see how, when I brought the data in, that I did some data transformations prior to getting to the point that we have here. Now, what I do want to show you is we're going to be looking at the stock data in a format or in a table that, as such, you would normally see data of a stock report, of various stock reports, but it's not going to be in the exact order that you would normally go, that you would go in and you would look at certain newspapers or in certain websites, because I created this table myself, right? I created this table utilizing the same data that is used for stocks, but I arranged the items, or I arranged the columns in an order that I felt more suitable for me and for me to teach you or show you in this particular video. Then we're going to go over and we are going to look at a report, a Power BI report that I put together for this particular video, to where we are looking at our market cap and PE ratio and percent change, the volume, and the market caps and the symbols and all of that as that information is brought in from the data set. But before we even get here, we've got to go over to the data view and go into Power Query. So I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to go to Transform Data, and I am going to select Transform Data. Okay, and the reason why I am going over to Home and Transform Data is because when I bring, again, please understand, when you bring data in initially, 99% of the time I'm gonna say 99, but probably 99% of the time you're gonna have to transform data unless you're writing the query yourself and bringing it in from let's just say SQL Server and you're writing the query yourself, and you're bringing exactly in what you want to bring in, and you're titling the columns exactly how you want them to be titled. Otherwise, you're probably going to have to make some changes do some transformations. And of course, when I just said make some changes, that's in layman's term, but in the data world, we call that do some transformations, which simply means we're going to transform the columns to better suit us as what we need as for what we're going to be needing to use when we build out our Power BI reports. So I brought in my data set, and as you can see here, I have 4 tables that are listed. I've got stock 1, stock 2, stock amended, and crypto. We're not going to be talking crypto in this video. We will be talking crypto in a very near future video. But I ended up creating the tables for the stock and for the crypto utilizing a similar report setting. So just understand, we're not going to be talking crypto in this video. We will be talking crypto in a future video, but we're only talking stocks currently. So we're only going to be using these 3 tables: stock 1, stock 2, and stock 3. Well, stock amended. Not a stock amended, stock appended. The reason why we have stock 1, stock 2, and stock appended is because when I brought the data set in 2 different tables. So when I brought the data set in 2 different tables, I wanted all the stocks to be in one table. So in stock 1, the table stock 1, we have the data set here, and in table stock 2, we have the data set here. And as you can see, the column names inside of in stock 1 and the column names in stock 2, they're the same column names. Basically, at the end of the day, what this looks like is say for instance, I brought the data in from 2 different sources, but they have the same column names, but they have different stocks inside of each one of the tables. So what I said was I only wanted to deal with one table rather than 2 tables. Now, of course, in Power BI, you are allowed to have more than one table, more than 2 tables. And I've been on projects where I've had maybe 25 or 30 different tables. But in this particular case, given that each table had the exact, it's not necessarily the column name, it's the data type that's within each column. But with that said, given that they did have the same column names and the same data type, I was able to combine those columns. So basically, I merged those columns together. Now, when you merge columns in Power BI, when you combine tables in Power BI, you can combine the tables to be wide, or you can combine the tables to be long. If you combine the tables to be wide, that simply means that you're going to take one table and you're going to set it on the side of the other table, and you're going to combine those 2 tables. That's going to be a merge in Power BI. And typically, all of the column names in table 1 and the column names in table 2, they are going to be totally different column. They're going to be totally different in columns as far as name, probably, and data sets and data types, definitely. So again, if you take 2 tables and you place them side by side and you combine them together, that is a merge. But if the columns have the same data types, if they have the same number of columns and the same data types in each column, the names don't have to be the same, but typically the names are probably going to be the same. But the names don't have to be the same. But if the column types, if 2 tables have the same number of columns and they have the same data types in each column, you can merge those, you can combine those tables. And when you can combine those tables, basically you're going to place one table on top of the other table, because the column type, the data types in each one of those columns are going to force the columns to go to the correct locations, so that now if you have name in table 1 and you have name in table 2, the name in table 2 now is going to automatically fall under the name in table 1, and you don't have to worry about it having the name the name heading because